Hello. Hello, everyone. Words of affirmation is our first love language that we're going to be chatting about today. So we are super duper excited. We're just going to jump right into it because there's a lot of information. And yeah. So remember, if you want to be considered for a giveaway, share this video and comment on the video shared. Why do we say comment on the video shared? Because we want to make sure that we don't miss you. What we're going to do is we're going to take all the names, shuffle them around, and then pick whoever the winner is. The books that we do have are in English. We just want to mention that so that you guys are aware. And I think we mentioned in the intro video that we had the 5 love languages book. Mm-hmm. No, it's the love and respect book. I think because I was like so thing with the love languages, I said we had the book, but no, we have the book Love and Respect. That is a really good book, which is a marriage book, and it is a teaching that we've sat under, I think, like twice. So we're jumping right into it. Today, words of affirmation. Again, if you want to be considered for the giveaway, share this video, comment on the video, share, so we can put you in our raffle, which we will announce next week. What did I say?
Yeah.
Oh.
That's a good gift.
Oh, yeah. So we will announce the winner next week, and we will contact you personally as well to let you know if you won. So let's jump right into it. What is a love language? Basically, to put it simply, a love language is the language that makes your spouse feel loved. So, so everybody has a love language. Yeah, everybody has a love language. So the one we're talking about today is words of affirmation. Some points we want to just throw in there before we dive into what it is. Guys, we don't have a perfect marriage, and we in no way want to portray that we have a perfect marriage. What we're sharing today is things that we've learned from our own experience, things that we've seen from other people, or things that we've learned from other people from sitting in other teachings and stuff like that. So please don't get the wrong impression. We don't have it all together. But with the tools that we do have and what we have learned, we want to share it with you. Love is not a movie. Okay, I know a lot of times in movies and TV and social media, we want to pretend like marriage is this fairy tale, amazing thing, Cinderella, and it is amazing, but it's not a movie. A lot of times, things don't come out the way that they're portrayed in a movie, realistically. Marriage is messy. It can be very messy. It's a beautiful thing, but reality is that it's not all flowers and butterflies.
We spoke before, it's not about, you don't come to marry, we always said, okay, I fall in love, but in reality, when you get to come together with somebody else's life, like marriage, you realize that it's not falling in love, but growing in love. So if you're growing, basically it takes building, and building sometimes, you think about building something, you had to prepare the area, you had to clean out sometimes, you had to deal with certain mess to be able to put something beautiful in it and make something out of it. So it does take work and dedication, and it can be beautiful as long as we continually, daily work on it. We grow together in this.
Yeah, that's good. So with what Rafi's saying, if we look at John 13:34, Jesus is telling us, like, love is a commandment. He says, love one another. So we can't base our marriage or our love on feelings. I mean, and it sounds crazy because the world will tell you, yes, it has to do with your feelings. And yes, you do feel good. It does make you feel joy. It makes you feel happy. It makes you feel fulfilled, whatever it is. But you can't base your marriage off of feelings, because we all know, especially those that have been married for a few years, you have your honeymoon stage, and then suddenly it doesn't feel like a honeymoon stage anymore. If we were to base our marriage and our relationship off of what we feel, a lot of us would be divorced. Because we no longer feel like we're in this honeymoon stage or in this la la land. So love is a commandment. It is a choice that you make. It is based on the vows and the commitment that you have made to your spouse.
Exactly, definitely.
Good. I'll share this, and then Rafi's gonna jump into what words of affirmation is. I was listening to this preacher. His name is Jeremy Foster. He's hilarious, and he does. He's a pastor, but he does have like this segment on marriage, and I really like this one video that I was watching of his. He says motion creates emotion. So basically, like what he's saying is, your action in your kindness is going to be reciprocated. So you do something for your spouse, it's going to create emotion. Mm-hmm. He does something for me, it's going to create an emotion. And then he talks about how marriage is not a power struggle. It's not about who's right or who's wrong. It's a partnership. You're a team. You're working together towards something. It's not about he did this or she did that or they're not doing. When you get married, you got to break all that. If you want to have a successful marriage, you have to put yourself aside. And like the Bible says, put the other person first. Mm-hmm. If you want to have a deep, intimate marriage with your spouse, you want to enjoy your marriage to the fullest. A lot of people are enjoying their marriage right there on the surface. They're just getting by. Oh, I'm just dealing with him or I'm just dealing with her because I have to, because I've been married with them for so many years. But that's not how it should be. You should be able to be fully in love with your spouse, enjoying them, looking forward to coming home to them. And we hope that these videos that we're going to have for you are going to be able to help you with that.
Yeah, it can bless you guys.
Yeah.
And again, this is not just for people that are already married, but those that are planning or they're in a relationship, engaged, and they want to, make a step to make it better and to grow and to take this relationship seriously and work together. So even those that are single, that are not even with nobody at all yet, I think this will definitely benefit you. So definitely, thank you for coming along and watching. And again, like Mari said, this is going to bless you for sure.
You want to jump into?
Yes. So today's word of affirmation, and I love this one. Why do I love it? Because it's one of my love languages. And I realized that later on in marriage, like maybe a year or two later, when we went through a lot, different things that we're going to talk about that a little bit. But words of affirmation is basically enjoying compliments about your spouse, your significant other, and unexpected moments of praise. Basically, when that person says something that you didn't expect, that moves you. Like, for example,
say them to me.
I love your haircut. You know what I mean? I love the just little things like that. It doesn't have to be this all long sentence, but even like, Mari sometimes said, "Oh, that shirt looks good on you. I love how your muscles look in that shirt." Those little things like that will really make an impact if that person is one of those word of affirmation receiver.
Yeah.
It doesn't take a lot. Sometimes you think, "Oh, this is a lot to deal with." Not really. Even a bet, if that has one other language, is gonna move them for sure. So it's basically recognizing in them who they are in you, and they like to hear it from you. Some people have different languages. We're gonna talk about that on another video. But today, those that are fed by that they have that word of affirmation to receive it. They do need that extra, basically, not just with a gesture or just a smile or a touch, but they need you to affirm them, to remind them of who they are, or even what they can give. And then if I can say it in that way. And I want to just go to these two different things of word of affirmation, because it's a positive affirmation, which is good to say things that are positive to one another. That is basically working from our own strength, what we desire, what we see in that person and saying. And then we also have the biblical affirmation. Yeah. When you remind that person, when you give them an unexpected compliment or praise, but it comes from within the word. It actually comes from the place where it really not only tell them something good about them, but tell them the truth about them. Yeah. And that's two different things. they're both good, but I think when we even go deeper in that, in the biblical aspect, reminding them this is who you are, I think it's just impact that person. You building that person up literally. Like that person can really be transformed.
Yeah.
When you just only said, this is positive, but then this is a biblical. And I can say an example, for
give
example.
an example.
If a positive affirmation, you can say, oh, you're a nice person. But then you can also say biblical way in affirmation. God says he created you in his image. You are created to do great works. See the difference? They're both good, but in a level of biblical, it's not only giving them an affirmation, but it's also establishing them and who they're called to be. So I love that. I love when biblical affirmation is very, very good and powerful.
Yeah, definitely. So Ralphie, this is his love language. Words of affirmation is his love language. That's what he needs to receive from me so that he can feel loved, if we can make that very simple. We learned that the hard way when we got married. Words of affirmation, me giving words of affirmation when I first got married, was not my thing. It wasn't who I was at all. Bilmari, when I first, met Rafael, I wasn't that type of person to encourage, to, say, hey, good job, or, oh, that looks good. I wasn't that type of person. So getting married with somebody that is his love language, we bumped heads a lot. And I hope that this will help you guys. What do you do in that situation when your spouse's love language is not one that you like to give? And honestly, my perspective of it was like, I don't feel like it. I don't feel like encouraging him. I don't feel like... And I would also think I had a really religious mindset where I would say, he needs to get his affirmation from God. I don't have to encourage him. He should be looking to God for that. And there is a thin line when it comes to that. But in this situation, I needed to learn to affirm my husband. So what did I do with all the bumping heads? And once I stopped being stubborn, which I tend to do a lot, I started practicing. And what I would do is, intentionally in my mind, if I knew that Ralphie got a haircut or I knew that he got a new outfit, I had to intentionally, since I'm not a person that pays attention to those things, I had to intentionally have in my mind and train myself, wait, he got a haircut, compliment it. Oh, he did this. He did this well, or he did this in church, or he did this at his job. Compliment it. Encourage him. If I know that he's struggling with something, Ralphie, you know what? You did a really good job with that. Or that was excellent. And guys, it's not that you're never going to tell your spouse when there's something that they need to fix, because there's a time and a place for that. But I know that we've said this in so many of our videos. You need to build each other up. So every opportunity that you have to build up your spouse, you should be building up your spouse. You want to say something?
Yeah, and this is the thing that I didn't even realize, she mentioned for her, but as well for me. I didn't even realize that was one of my love languages, that I needed to be affirmed with words. And we discovered that through difficulties, both of us.
Yeah.
I remember her being frustrated, telling me, why do I have to tell you this? Why do you want to hear this from me?
You should know.
And I found myself you should know that. But I didn't realize. So we were aiming both in the wrong direction. And so we kind of sat down and went through all this, and from the things that we went through and the hard stuff we went through in marriage, that we had to sit down and talk. So that way we can respond to each other in a healthy way.
Yeah.
And not only respond in words, but love languages and all this aspect, and hers and mine's.
Yeah.
And it's amazing that it's crazy how, and this I just want to say this little thing here, because we're talking about relationship here, right? So with me, it's different. I don't not necessarily need that from people, friends outside of my relationship, my marriage. Outside, it doesn't really do that great of an impact like it is when Bimari tells me. It's just different. It's weird. And I think it's a good thing, because then I don't look for that word affirmation somewhere else, and be wandering and opening doors that doesn't belong to other people to come in that area, because it belongs to her. That's her area. She's my wife. She's the one that responds to that. not outside of that. And so I realized that when she was very strong and like, like, why? Like, and I said, because, and it was like, I was like demanding this from her, and I realized that it was coming out wrong. I was trying to receive that from her in a wrong manner. So it's not only in her side that she had it to practice, but I also had it to balance that out, because I realized that I was going to withdraw when she didn't do that. And I feel like all down, and I have my days and my moments, where she didn't say I was looking good today or anything. And I allowed, just, and even thinking that it was the opposite, or maybe she don't find me attractive anymore. Like, allowing all these lies and all this stuff that it was not even there, to create stuff in my mind. And that's where I realized, okay, I had to have a balance. God is the one that affirms, first of all, in all aspects. He's the one that holds me together. So I find my affirmation first in him, and then she's basically reminding those affirmations to me. And so we have to be careful with that too. When your spouse doesn't respond to a word affirmation, if you're one of those that receive, or your partner, if you're not married yet, or you're in a you know what I mean,
in a relationship,
you have to be careful that you don't go in withdrawal, if I can use that word.
Mm-hmm.
You don't go in that stage of like feeling down, or allowing those lack of words that are not given to you to make you feel like something is wrong, or you're experience things that are not even there. Yeah. So you have to be careful with that, because she also goes through things like I go through things as a couple and individually. Mm-hmm. So there was time that Mari was going through her own process, that it didn't mean that she didn't care for me or didn't even care those extra things, but God was dealing with her for certain things, or maybe she even had a rough week at work. She worked extra hours, or we were busy with the boys, or those that have kids, and we didn't even stop for a moment. That's just something that we learned also after, that we had to make that also too. That's not an excuse for not you to do it, but not because it didn't happen that day, it doesn't mean that something is wrong with your marriage. Like, we have to be careful with relationship, that we don't depend either on that. Like, yes, it's for our significant other to respond to that language, but it's not also for us to basically manipulate our spouse with that love language, if you know what I mean.
That's a good point. That's a really good point. Another point that we want to bring is, if your spouse doesn't like the way that you talk to them, or a way or a word that you say, don't do it. I'm not gonna say the word that I used to use. There were
certain words that I'm like, why are you calling me that? Like,
that, wow. When I met Ralphie, I hang out with my brothers, all right? So I was very like tomboyish, so sometimes the way that I would talk to him, a lot of
street words, if you can say it that way.
So I would talk to him sometimes like if he was like my boy, you know what I mean?
Like yo,
He used to get so upset, and I used to be like, "This is me." Like, I was so. I still am sometimes, but I was much worse then. So I was like, "No, like this is the way that I am. This is the way that I want to talk." And God had to show me, like, listen, is it really worth arguing? If he doesn't like that you talk to him like that, don't talk to him like that. Listen, guys, I feel like in marriage, a lot of times we get into these places where it's like, no, it's my way. Like, you need to, and no, I'm talking girls and I'm talking to the guys as well. The man, like, you need to submit. Like, it's whatever. Mm-hmm. Or the women, you're not going to tell me what to do. There's so many. It's a partnership. Yeah. It's a team. Do not waste valuable time fighting and arguing and bickering and getting into this power struggle over things that are insignificant. And I think we mentioned this before, but a friend of ours has said, I'll let you talk in just a second. A friend of ours has said that a lot of times, like, we get so distracted with little minimal things that, like, we waste our energy, that then when the big issues come, you're so worn out, you don't even want to fight. So do not waste your time on minimal, insignificant things. Go ahead.
Yeah, and we were just talking about this yesterday. we heard this from a pastor that he's actually a counselor for marriages and couples, and he was saying that when there's a problem going on in your marriage, that's when you have to look at each other and be like, we're in this together, and we're gonna fight, both come together to fight against that problem, and not rest until that problem is completely out of our relationship, our marriage.
That's good.
So sometimes we do it the opposite. We fight with each other like we're each other's enemy. Or it's your fault. No, it's not my fault. No, it's yours. When in reality, this problem is your enemy, not each other.
Yeah.
So coming together and fight against that and remove that together, oh my God, that's a powerful thing to do. So that's when you really have to like put your pride behind you.
Yeah.
Your own way to think about things. And this, you know, if you feel like it's getting into a point that is too much to talk about, then give each other a break, come back. But remember, you know, this is something that we always remind each other. We're not each other's enemy. Mm-hmm. Their enemy right here, it's this situation. And we're going to talk. We're going to come with a conclusion. We're going to come with whatever we have to do, pray, whatever God put in our hearts to do and how we do it. And we're going to get rid of it. Because the problem is this, not each other.
Yeah.
So that's something that we have to have in mind. Literally, like, it's like a note right there. We're not each other's enemy.
Yeah. So points that we can give you guys: encourage each other daily. Every opportunity that you get, like we were talking about earlier, encourage one another. You did good, you did that. Mm-hmm. And when it's time to talk about difficult things, that we have videos on our YouTube channel about effective communication and how to communicate. If there's something that you want your spouse to work on, 1, wait until it's the right time. Think about, is this worth bringing up? And 3, measure your words.
Yeah.
And especially, we can give an example of our own relationship. Ralphie's personality is very different than mine.
Completely different.
So
we are very different. Which makes it fun, honestly.
Yeah.
We have our moments, but I think we have a lot of fun because of that. We have different ways to think, and it's just for me, it is fun because then it's not the same mindset, it's not the same way. And it's just create like a nice balance in our marriage. Yeah.
So think about, when we're talking about words of affirmation, talking about communicating, think about how your spouse will receive what you're saying and measure your words. Mm-hmm. The last video that we did on cost of unforgiveness, go watch it if you haven't. I was talking about how sometimes we are brutally honest. And when you're in a marriage, sometimes, you know, you're so comfortable, or when you're in a relationship or about to get married, you're so comfortable with your spouse that you feel like you can tell them anything. And yes, it should totally 100% be that way. But you still have to lace your words with love.
Oh, yes.
Especially if you're in a moment where you're angry and you are not feeling like you want to affirm and you feel completely opposite, go take a breather.
So good.
Breathe it out. If you need to go pray about it. Think about what you're going to say before you say it, because when you say whatever it is that you have to say, you want to make sure that you don't regret it and that you do not hurt the other person. The Bible says that 2 become 1. So what hurts him hurts me. And what hurts me hurts him. Same thing with you and your relationships. Thank you, Kathy. Same thing with you and your relationships. What hurts you hurts him, and vice versa. Measure your words, lace them with love, and remember effective communication. You want to say something?
Not right now.
Okay. I felt like we had like so much, but I feel like we're really getting through it, which feels so good. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So we talked a little bit about this in the beginning of the video. Be careful that you don't look for, and this is for any love language. We're just talking about the relationship in general. Be careful that you don't look for in your spouse what only God can give you. Sometimes we carry things from our childhood that we expected from our parents, and we didn't receive, and we end up expecting it from our spouse. This is dangerous because that's why sometimes spouses go looking for what the other lacks in somebody else, because they feel that their spouse is not fulfilling that. Wow, that was a lot of word. But basically, don't look for, in your spouse, don't look for what you know only God can give you. And I can give an example because, and I'm going to stop right after. I can give an example because a lot of times I find myself like searching, like when I'm searching, like I'm looking for some kind of fulfillment. I don't know if you guys understand, but this is kind of like how I am. I need to every day be filled, like, which is why I need to constantly be in the face of God. Like I always need to be in my relationship with God, whether it's reading the Bible, whether it's worship. I need to feel filled. That's the way that Birmari is. And when I don't do that, I look for things in Raphael and kind of seek his attention or something, looking for him to fill what only God can fill. You have to be careful in your marriage and in your relationship not to do that, because nobody can take the place of God and nobody can take the place of your spouse. Learn to identify things that are like, this isn't right, or this is a little bit off. Deal with those things.
Yeah, because then we have expectation of each other that is not for us to meet. And then it frustrates the other person. Like, I'm doing something wrong. She wants this, in our example. She wants this, and I cannot give it to her. Or she wants me to understand this, but I can't. And that's where it creates frustration in the person that they're waiting for you to respond. And, that you're expecting from. And it also creates frustration in the person that's looking for something in the wrong place. So, and I'm going to go back a little bit for what you said about when we're children, we were children, we were children.
We're in our childhood,
In our childhood, there's things that were not met with our parents. And there's a lot of relationship, and it happens to us, actually.
Yeah.
When we first got married, there was a part of me that I was acting like I was her son. Literally. Like she owed me something as a mother. And I realized that after, and I'm like, wait a minute. And she felt the same way. She felt like I was her father. And then we knew that because of the clash that we were going through and the behaviors issues that we had, and the lack of response in areas that we couldn't help each other out. And we realized not only it was affecting us, but it was literally like keeping us stagnant, keeping us in a place of hold. And we realized that we had to go back to our childhood and pray or talk to God so we can let those things go. So we can say, listen, my dad or my mom didn't do this, or they did this wrong, and I want to forgive them and forgive that what happened and move on from now and be the husband I need to be. In her place, and be the wife that I need to be, and not expecting her to fill something that my mom couldn't do it when I was a child, or vice versa, her mom or dad, or my dad or mom, because that's wrong. We're supposed to be each other's husband or wife, or significant other, not parents. And that's what you see a lot of the times, that relationship. This is going to be a little uncomfortable with some of you. But you see men, and I'm going to be honest, and everybody has different ways to grow up, and parents show them certain way to grow up. But at least in the Spanish culture, most of us, men, we go home, we throw our shoes at the door. We expect a woman to do completely everything for us. And that's where you have to think about it. Is this really necessary? Is this really the way it should be? And I mean, everybody have their own way to do things. I'm not saying that. But a lot of those things is because they saw mom doing that with dad, or mom doing it with them. She did everything for everybody. Yeah. And I think that I can truly say that can really mess up relationships in the future if you don't deal with that, because it wouldn't be fair to come home and kind of repeat that same pattern that you learn at home, and your spouse is not having it. They're not happy with that. Right. They're not agreeing with that. So that's why you have to deal with certain things. If there's certain things that you're expecting from each other that you cannot meet, maybe it's a way that it's a moment that you have to sit down and say, hey, be honest with me. Why, tell me your expectation from me that I'm not meeting. So that way you can come into a place of healing. Because a lot of the times it's a place that we're stuck, that we have to let go and change our way of thinking, change our way to, our expectations, and it's not going to be reality. For example, I grew up with a single mom, right? For a while, and then my stepdad came along when I was already almost a teenager. My mom, I helped my mom do everything at the house as the oldest. I learned how to cook when I was already 8-9 years old. I learned how to, iron. I learned so many things that a woman at our culture is supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I realized then later, no, this is my mom. My mom taught me, no, if you had to do it for yourself, go for it. If you had to step it up and go in to help your spouse and respond differently, then go for it. So here's when I'm trying to bring a point here that, let us be, we have to be very mindful and careful that we're not expecting from each other something that is not, it's not gonna be realistic. Something that you have to sit down and talk about and change things around a little bit.
Maybe something that can help is sit down with your spouse and talk about what like Rafi was saying. Talk about what the expectations are, what the expectations are in the home. Like we've talked about before, Rafi cooks in the house. I do not like cooking. And we came upon that agreement that he was going to do the cooking. I do other things. He does other things. But we've come into agreement in that so that there is no conflict. Our home is not a typical Spanish home.
Yeah.
At all.
There's no way.
We do things very differently. We do 50-50. We both care for the boys. Like, it's not just if that's your flow, that's your flow. What we're saying is talk it out and make sure that you're both in agreement in regards to that, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So a few things, and then we're gonna finish the video. Just 2 points that I wanted to bring. Actually, 2 points that I wanted to bring. Never make yours when we're talking, because we're talking about words of affirmation. We're talking about the words that we're speaking. Never make your spouse feel insecure or your significant other feel insecure about who they are as a man or who they are as a woman. We've seen this so many times. For example, the woman will say to the man, like, you're not man enough. Or even make comments, one another, man to the female, female to the man, about their relationship, their intimacy, right? You have to be very careful in regards to those things. First of all, those things should not be discussed around other people. Those are things that are to be discussed in privacy. And how we were talking about measure your words. Do I like everything about Rafael? No. Does he like everything about me? No. Do I look exactly how he wants me to? No. Vice versa? No. It's not like that. We love each other, though. Our love goes far beyond that. Is there things that I want him to work on? Is there things that he wants me to work on? Yes. But when we talk about those things, we talk about them with respect.
Yes.
He doesn't say to me like, oh, I don't like how this looks on you, or you look like whatever in this, or I don't like that about you, or you look fat, or you look too skinny, whatever it is you have here, you don't have there. It's very important because you can really damage your significant other with making them feel insecure about something, whether it's internally, whether it's with their body, and that they will take with them when it comes to your intimacy, when it comes to your affection with one another. That will stay there. Oh, he said this. Oh, or she said this. And it'll constantly be a reminder to them. It's going to affect your whole marriage. Just because you said something that you shouldn't have, or you said it in the way that you shouldn't have. We believe in effective communication. All things need to be talked out, but it's in the way that you say it. Never make, especially women, I see this so much, and I'm a woman, so I can say this to y'all. Do not make your man feel less. And the thing that goes with that, never compare your spouse or your partner to any other man or to any other woman.
Big no.
Don't ever compare your marriage to any other marriage or any other couple. Everyone is different. And I know you guys heard this so many times. The grass is not greener on the other side. You may like something about that other person. You may like something about that marriage. That is fine. You don't know what's going on internally behind closed doors. You don't know that person for who they truly are. Your partner or your relationship is different than everybody else's. Everybody has their good. Everybody has their bad. But do not ever compare, because when you compare, and I'm going to let you talk, when you compare, you're basically letting the other person know you're not good enough or you're not worthy.
Yeah.
And that could scar them for life.
Yeah.
Go.
And sometimes, that creates something that is not, again, it's not truth. When you say those type of things to somebody, we talk about this, and there was a video that we spoke about the mind. It was in Spanish though, but we spoke about those things that sometimes you receive a thought or receive a word from somebody that is not even true about yourself.
Yeah.
It was just something that they thought or they think or their opinion about something. And sometimes we mess that up. We think that their opinion is the truth about yourself or ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And what happens is when you receive that, not only it's wrong to give it, but also wrong to receive that, it creates something in your mind and it builds something up that it basically takes you to a place of lack in an area. And like Mari said, sooner or later it's gonna affect your relationship.
Yeah.
You're gonna respond to certain things, certain people because of what your spouse said to you. So the biggest person that you have to basically to build you up is your spouse, is the person that you live with. Because depending on how you build each other up, then that's what you're gonna live outside of your home. So it's very crucial. It's very it's serious, the things we say out of our mouth. We have to think about it. Even if we're so angry, so upset, hold it in. And I can tell this from experience because when I get upset, you can ask her, I'm very straight up, honest. I don't have filter. I can be nice, I can be, very graceful, but when I get into a point that I get I can, if I have weaknesses like all of us.
Yeah.
And one of my weaknesses can be the same way I can build you up with my words, I can destroy you with my words. I know that, and it's something that every day I ask God to help me. Because once I'm upset, I can use it against you, and that's not good.
Yeah.
So I'm telling you this from a place of knowing, of experiencing, submitting that to God, allowing God to help me change the way I think, the way I speak, because it can really destroy not only your significant other, your whole family. Because the way she's responding to it, receiving it, it will affect the children, and it will affect everybody in the house, and vice versa. It will affect, and then it will also affect your relationship with other people.
Yeah, we're talking about that, and we're about to finish. We're talking about in the video, The Cost of Unforgiveness, how powerful we are as people, especially when you're in a relationship. Somebody can come and say something to you, and you might be able to brush it off, but when it's your partner or your spouse, they say something to you, it's not that easy to brush it off. Why? Because you're in that relationship. There's feelings involved. You're in love, right? You're tied to that person. So what the other person thinks of you when you're in that relationship means everything. It means everything. So measure your words. Last thing, whether you know it or not, you are the only one that can teach your partner or significant other how lovable you are. You show them how to treat you by the way you treat yourself and by the way you allow them to treat you. It's your responsibility. There's nothing that God can't repair, and this is us encouraging you guys. If both people are willing to work at it, there's nothing that He can't repair. There's nothing that He can't fix.
Oh, yes.
If you're both willing to put in the work. It takes two. Unfortunately, we've seen so many people that there's one that's fighting for the marriage or fighting for the relationship, and there's one that's not. If you're both willing, there's nothing that He can repair. Sometimes we allow our reasoning, right? Our thinking, this can't happen. There's no way. You're trying to figure it out in your mind, but you don't realize that God is a supernatural God, and He can do what He wants, when He wants, and how He wants. So don't despair. Know that there's hope for you. If you are in that situation, there's hope. Don't give up. I wanted to say something and I forgot. Is there anything that you want to say? I was in a row and I had something
So
to say.
so basically we're almost done. We're at the end.
Yeah.
So if this is one of your love language, then speak it out. Share with your significant other. Let them know.
Yeah, let them know. Maybe they don't know.
I actually like when you say this to me. Or if your significant other is the one that is one of the love language, but it's hard for you, like Mari had that hard time at first, then you have to make the effort. If you really want this relationship to work, this marriage to be healthy, then you have to make the effort and your part to use words, to change the way you talk.
Yeah.
To be purposeful, and so it becomes a lifestyle for you. Now Vilmari all the time, now she's extra sometimes. Now she's extra, and sometimes it's like, okay, Vilmari, all right, you told me already. I know. And
that's what I wanted to say.
yeah,
Go ahead.
so now it became something normal for her. Now it's
Yeah.
not like she tries, because it's different. Before she used to kind of, oh, okay, I forgot to tell you this. But now it's like, it became such a like
A natural thing.
And it's amazing though, because when you respond to this language is when you responded to the person that is receiving it, it's so powerful that it will affect the person that's giving it. That's why it just keep going, because it was affecting her in a good way.
Yeah.
For her to respond to that love language.
Yeah.
So it's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing.
And now I love encouraging people. I mean, I had this struggle when we first got married. This was like 10 years ago. But now I love encouraging people. I love affirming people. Like, you can ask, like, my coworkers. There was one coworker that was saying the one day, she was like new at that time. She was like, you know, Bill, I could do something wrong, and she would still say, like, good job, you gave it a try. But now it's something normal and something that I love to do, because I trained myself to do that. And now I can do that with other people, not just with my marriage. I think I tell my kids every single day how amazing they are.
That's what you call there renewing your mind.
Yeah.
When you renew your mind, literally you transform the way you think.
Yeah.
In such a way that it will impact, and whatever you do is completely renewed.
Yeah.
Transforming. That's what she had to do. She had to renew her mind to be able to respond to a love language of mine, basically. And it's amazing what that can happen. You know, what can happen when you do that.
Yes. So that is all. We hope that you guys enjoyed, that you learned something from it. I keep losing my train of thought. Anyway, so our next video is going to be acts of service. That's going to be next week. We will post on Facebook what day it will be, so stay tuned. I think it's Thursday this time, but we will let you know ahead of time. You still have a chance to share this video. Share the video, share it with somebody that you feel needs it. Even if you don't know anybody that needs it, share it anyways, because somebody might need it that you might not even know. Comment on the video that you shared it, so that you can be considered for a raffle, and we can consider you for the gift that we are going to be giving away. Yeah?
Definitely. Yes.
Hallelujah. We are so excited.
Guys, thank you for giving us your time, and for you to take your time to watch this video and, you know, hear us out. And we just hope that we're just doing what God called us to do, just to share our hearts with you guys, be transparent, be open with you guys, and talk things, you know, bring you guys to our table and talks about things that we need to talk about, with things that we need as people to talk about, as a community, as a church, to talk about that. Sometimes we go ahead of, you know, we go into our agenda and our life that we don't stop to talk about these things, and I think this is very important. We believe, with Maria and I, that if we have a healthy marriage, a healthy home, then we can be healthy people for everybody else. We can serve people. Good. We can give it all without holding nothing. And it starts not only like I always said, it's not what you do, it's who you are. So if you are healthy, if you are whole, if you always try, and I'm not talking about perfection, we're not perfect, but if you're constantly working on something yourself and working and those relationships around you, it's so good. It's so good. Yes, you're gonna go through hard times. You're gonna you go through things that are difficult, but it's so good because you'll be able to go to bed, and, you know, and enjoy the peace of God that He promised us. Enjoy the joy that He promised us. You know, and it's so good. So that's what we want to do. Just encourage you guys, help you guys grow in all aspects as we're growing with you, because we both growing as well. So let this be a blessing to you and your family. Yeah.
Yeah. God bless you guys. We will see you next week. Bye.
Adios. Buenas noches.